Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this Healthy Bods equals Happy Kids Hangout for back to school. I am so happy to have the experts from Super Healthy Kids here to share their expertise. These are two awesome moms that have created a company that, frankly, is just blown up. They have over 1.3 million followers. I don't know how you guys did that. It's phenomenal. On Facebook. And so I wanted to just bring you guys together because we have a ton of people that have a lot of questions about picky eaters. And in fact, you know, Amy, the idea behind why you started this, just a second. Not starting? Okay, never mind. Technical glitch taken care of. We're good. Okay, so the reason you started this blog, Amy, is because, you know, you had picky kids yourselves, and you're a mom of 3 teenagers now. So just tell me a little bit about why, you know, started it, what inspired this, and kind of how it's come to be.
Well, I think like a lot of bloggers, I started it as a way to put everything I wanted to remember and share with people all in one place. And one of those things I wanted to share was quick, easy meals that people could share with their families, that their kids would be accepting to, and that didn't take a lot of time. At the time I was working for the health department, and there was just so many questions from people who wanted to know how to feed their family the healthiest, and so I used it as a place to share those things.
Well, you've done a phenomenal job, and really, truly are providing value to families everywhere. So you've done great. And your partner now, Natalie, who's a registered dietitian. And Natalie, you have 2 little ones, but you have little ones. How old are your kids?
Actually, I have 3.
3?
I have
Okay.
a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old. So it's busy, and we get to experiment with lots of our recipes on little kids at my house.
Well, it's very cool. And the one thing, too, for everybody to know is you guys have also created a lot of, you know, meal plans and things that you share, not just, you know, for free on social media, but people can sign up for memberships and get healthy meal plans in their inbox. You know, you make these awesome plates, which we're now carrying, and we'll talk more about that later. But you know, before we jump into that, I'll introduce myself very quickly. My name is Angela, Chief Fitlosophy, and the reason I'm partnering with Super Healthy Kids is because one of our products, Fitbook Junior, is part of our Fit at School program that we put in school systems. And when I found you guys, I was like, this is awesome. You guys are amazing at what you do, but also you're just providing such great value for families and schools. And so I just really think it's a great partnership, and I'm excited to bring you to my followers and likewise. So before we get started answering questions, which we have a ton to cover, so I'm going to fly through those, I promised everybody a recipe. So the recipe for everybody on the call is called the Polka Dot Peas and Ribbons. This is a kid-friendly recipe that was just posted on Instagram. So you can actually go to our Instagram, go to Super Healthy Kids or Fitbook, either one, and you can get that recipe. But Amy, why don't you tell me about, there's 4 ingredients. Tell me why this is such an important recipe and why kids will love it.
Okay, I chose this recipe because it kind of encompasses a few of the philosophies that Natalie and I use when we help people and their kids get past their picky eating. But one is that we're really big into serving a variety of fruits and vegetables in a variety of ways. So this one's important because, like, for me, I don't like cooked carrots traditionally.
Me neither.
Like, they're mushy, and like the texture's weird, right? But when you slice them like ribbons, it actually is really delicious, and you don't have that mushy texture because they're just kind of these long, beautiful, a little bit crunchy, but a little bit cooked. And so I think it's important for parents to remember that if their kids don't like their vegetables one way, they might like it a different way. So that's one reason I have that recipe. And the second is because it's the perfect one to get your kids involved with making with you, because they can learn to peel those carrots, and you're just using a regular vegetable peeler, but you go beyond the top layer of skin and you just keep peeling, and it's so easy and fun for them. Yeah, they can be involved for sure.
From the picture, it kind of looks like pasta, obviously. Does it, whenever you cook it that way, does it taste kind of like, you know, a pasta? Does it have that same texture?
Yeah, actually, it does taste more like pasta than it tastes like carrots, for sure.
Well, I'm not a fan of cooked carrots either, so I'm going to try out this recipe. I mean, these are just kid-friendly recipes. This is great for any adult that really doesn't, like eating their vegetables either. So that's one thing I love about your recipes is they are so, I mean, first of all, they're just adorable, but they are just, they're adult-friendly too. So with that, thank you for that recipe. Again, anybody following us along, go to Instagram, look up @SuperHealthyKids. Follow them, and you can get that recipe. All the recipe and the comments are in that image. It's a cute little orange plate with little polka dot peas. So go get that. So we are going to jump right into the questions because, like I said, we have a ton for you. So overwhelmingly on Instagram, on the Google Plus page, and on Facebook, the question was, and the struggle that most parents have is getting their kids to eat vegetables. So they're okay with fruit, because they're sweet, but, they won't touch vegetables. So, I'm just wondering, Natalie, what is one of your first tips, like, to helping people get their kids to eat veggies whenever, they really don't want to touch them?
So, like Amy mentioned earlier, our biggest philosophy is just trying different fruits and vegetables in a variety of ways. So, just like she did with the carrot ribbons, a lot of kids are way more likely to eat them as a ribbon than just in even a circle. Some other things we try is, like with broccoli, for example, we like roasted broccoli way better than even steamed broccoli or raw broccoli. And even beyond that, not just giving them the roasted broccoli by itself, but putting it in like a mac and cheese. We've done a roasted veggie mac and cheese. And so pairing it with something that kids love with a different way of trying it. Because I think a lot of times as parents we think, okay, well, our kid on their plate needs to have like a meat and then the veggie separate and then the fruit separate, when really you can put it in things.
Yeah, there was one recipe you guys posted the other day. Was it pumpkins and dirt? What was that? That was so cute.
Oh yeah, that's one of our favorites. So it's just raw carrots cut into circles in hummus with a little stick through it and a little piece of green onion. And kids love stuff like that. I can tell you, I mean, just on my own kids, if I make it fun at all, if I put even a little bit of extra effort, they are 100% more likely to try it. And a lot of times it's the biggest hurdle is just getting them to try it. So.
Okay, yeah, and I mean that's a good seasonal recipe right now, the pumpkins and dirt. So just basically you cut little circle shapes, put a toothpick in it, and put them in hummus and call them pumpkins in the dirt.
Yep.
Yeah, so cute. I mean, and again, if you guys want to go to Instagram, you can see all these pictures, and on Facebook too. It made me want to eat hummus and carrots. So I think that's a really brilliant idea. We have one question specifically from Cindy on our Google Plus page that says, and here's a little, I want to give the background on it so you guys can kind of get an idea of what she's struggling with, and I'm sure a lot of parents can relate. So she says, I have a daughter who is a picky eater just starting school. I'm struggling to pack her lunch with well-rounded, healthy options because she doesn't like vegetables or meat. Traditionally, I can hide vegetables in her food, but with lunches, you can't hide it as well. She does love fruit, breads, and dairy, so she tries to create a mix of those, and she's tempted to buy prepackaged granola bars with veggie juice in them. I'm excited to hear your thoughts on that. I don't want to resort to that because we try to keep a whole diet at home. I also mentioned I work full-time, have no time for baking. Otherwise, I would love to try making my own granola bars. Any advice on quick, easy recipes for mom on the go when they're packing a lunch and you can't hide, when you can't hide the broccoli inside something?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, sure, Amy.
Sorry.
Go for it.
Sorry, I didn't know. Okay, so I feel like there's kind of two things in this question. And one of them is, especially if Cindy's child is just starting school, this is the perfect time to teach her to pack her own lunch. And my story that I've told over and over is that when I was making my kids' lunches, I had found out that my son traded his entire lunch for a candy corn, like one single candy corn. And from that moment on, I said, you know what, if you're not going to eat what I pack, then maybe you should pack. And so you can bring to school the things that you want. However, we have certain guidelines. So you're always going to have to bring a vegetable. You're going to have to bring a fruit. You're going to have to bring a protein. And so we set that guideline out from way back when he was in first grade, and to this day, my kids all pack their own lunches. But to answer, and this actually helps Cindy in another way because she works full time. So in that sense, it'll take a lot off her plate. But in the beginning, when she's helping him out, I think it's just good if she tells him, okay, look, you're going to have a vegetable, and he knows that is part of a balanced lunch, so that every day, even if it's just carrots and dip or cucumbers with a piece of cheese on top or something like that, that he gets into that habit. Because it's all about starting good habits young, and he knows, okay, vegetables are a part of the balanced lunch, and my mom makes me take a vegetable every day, so I better figure out which ones are my favorite.
Well, and I think you make a great point, too, which is kids like to make choices as long as parents provide the choice options, right? So instead of you have to choose a vegetable because mom says so, it's like, okay, it's your call, but you need to choose tomatoes, cucumbers, or broccoli, and then they feel like they're in control. So, you know, I think that that's a really good way of, and again, I don't have kids, but I've learned this from my friends that are really good parents. So I think that that's one thing that resonates, you know, especially in their food options, is making them feel in control, like they have a choice, but as parents, like you said, setting those guidelines on either side.
Definitely.
Also, can I add something?
Yeah, absolutely.
So just to respond to her question about making her own granola bars, working full-time, even, you know, when you don't work full-time, it's hard to find time to make things at home. And so a lot of our recipes on our site are fast, and something we recommend is on the weekend, maybe making a big batch with your kid, and then they're involved, like you said, they feel like they have the control. And a lot of our recipes you can freeze, so make a bigger batch and freeze, or they'll store for at least a week. And so you can make a batch of granola bars and then just have them every day for lunch.
So, you know, again, coming down to meal planning, meal prepping like we do as adults, same things for your kids. Make a bunch ahead of time, freeze it, and that way you have. Now, I'm curious, though, to know what you think, Natalie. You know, let's say I'm a mom, I'm in a time crunch, and I have, I don't know, 3 kids crawling over me, and I need to stop by Target and pick up a bar. Is there anything that you would actually feed your child from there, or are you just like, no, just give them water? I mean, would there be a bar or two that you're like, this is kid-friendly and healthy?
I love the Lara bars. I love the Lara bars just because we can make the same exact thing at home, and I know there's no weird ingredients in them, and we do make them. In fact, last night I just made some. I almost used that as the recipe today on Instagram, but even just blending up some dates and adding cashews and blending it all up, I mean, that's all a Lara bar is. So I will buy those if we're, you know, in a pinch.
This is not.
I also there's a lot of new things coming out that are more kid friendly. Like Cliff Bar has come out with some all fruit type things that I will buy because it's just fruit. So we're okay with those, and we also like the Kind bars.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen those.
Good. Yeah, and you know, I think that's just a helpful tip because of course we would all love to be able to make homemade granola bars ahead of time and things like that. But I think one thing that is helpful for, you know, busy moms or busy parents on the go is, okay, you know what, this is, you know, super healthy kid approved, you know, Lara bar, a Kind bar, the Cliff Z bar. I think those are good options. So that's really helpful. So, all right, so we kind of covered the fruits and veggies thing, but one of our participants asked the question, my biggest struggle is to get my girls to eat protein, which we all know how important protein is. They're all about fruits and veggies, but no protein, meat or plant-based. So it just sits on the plate. So what are creative ways to get my kid to eat enough protein?
Do you want? I can answer. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I just have a quick thought, and it might sound like it's dodging the question a bit, but when you are eating real food, you know, your fruits and vegetables and anything that, you know, comes from the ground, you are getting some protein, even though it's not considered like your typical plant-based protein sources like soy or tofu, whatever. But, you know, even broccoli has some protein, and I think that if you're eating whole foods, that kids are getting more than think they're getting.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like I'm dodging the question. So go ahead, Natalie.
And I think that's a great point. I mean, I don't think a lot of people know, like, there's 6 grams of protein in a cup of broccoli. That's it's the highest protein veggie, so that is a good option. But again, you know, Natalie, do you have any ideas on how do you either sneak this in, or how, you know, what are the options?
Yeah, so I think sometimes we need to think outside the box a little bit. Like, we think about protein, we think about, oh, they need to be eating chicken or beef or whatever it is. But we, in my family, we ate a mostly vegetarian diet, actually. We don't eat a lot of meat. And one of the things we love is quinoa. And it's a grain, and so it is considered a plant-based protein, but it's a really great source of protein. And so what we've tried to do, we just made a recipe last week called quinoa bites, quinoa dessert bites.
I saw those.
So you mix, yeah, and they're really good. And they're great for a school lunch. They're great for, you know, an after-dinner dessert. So we kind of use alternative grains and just make them in a creative way to add the protein without, you know, here's your piece of chicken. The other thing I wanted to say, too, is we eat a lot of beans. And I don't know if this mom, what was her name? Anyway, whoever asked the question. But there's a lot of ways you can include beans in your diet. We've done, Amy has a great recipe on our site that is a chicken nugget. So it's made out of chickpeas. And it's just shaped like a chicken nugget, and you pan fry it, and it's really good.
That sounds really good. And kids love chicken nugget. You call it a chicken nugget. Eat it.
Yeah, we call it
what it is chicken nuggets.
Chicken nugget. But, so that's really great. We've done pizza sauce where we've actually blended some white beans into the sauce, and you make a pizza out of it. So I think just some of those simple ideas where you're thinking outside the box and maybe trying some new protein sources.
Okay, that's a really great idea. You know, one comment that kind of, I don't know, I could feel for this mom. You could tell she kind of felt bad. She was like, I don't know how to cook healthy food, you know, so my kids, she said, my kids eat crap. So, you know, that is one struggle, is feeling like you're responsible for your kids' nutrition, but not knowing what the options are. You know, Amy, I know you and I had talked about this, you know, is it better to eat at home, eat healthy food out? What are the options?
You know, this I think is the very first step for most families. We had actually gone early in the year to see Michelle Obama speak about childhood obesity, and she really, the whole point of her talk was getting families back into the kitchen and cooking. And I really feel like no matter what you're cooking, even if you consider it not to be really healthy, it's still actually a great way for your kids to connect with the source of their food and for you to control the ingredients. And honestly, when we go out to eat, I think, how are they packing 1,200 calories and 100 grams of fat into this salad? Because I could make the same salad at home, and it won't come anywhere close to what, you know, the chain restaurants are. I don't know what they're adding to it. But anyway, so getting back in the kitchen is the first step. And if you feel like your cooking isn't considered healthy enough, don't let that stop you, because it's going to be so much better. Even if you're baking cookies, I'm all about being in the kitchen with the kids, no matter what it is.
That's a great point. And you had some great. Sorry to interrupt you. Tiana was ducking behind me, so I started cracking up.
Okay.
Sorry. So actually, one thing you said on Instagram the other day, or was it Facebook, having the kids chop herbs with little kid-safe scissors and little things like that. And so little ways of doing those things are so helpful, not only for the mom or the dad in the kitchen, but it helps involve the kids. And I agree, you know, making a pizza at home, I don't care what you put on that pizza, it's going to be healthier at home than it is, you know, ordering in. So I don't have the name of whoever made that comment, but, you know, don't be too hard on yourself. Anything you make at home is going to be a lot healthier. And obviously we have a resource for recipes. Try out a new recipe. Make it a goal as a family to try one new recipe a week. and, you know, have the kids be involved in that. So maybe they can be part of learning to cook healthy as a family. I think that's a great tip.
So, can I add one more thing? Sorry.
Absolutely.
Something we like to do is when I go grocery shopping, if my kids are with me, I'll let them pick one fruit or vegetable from the produce section that they want to try. And yesterday they chose a coconut, like a whole coconut, and they thought it was awesome. They like loved it, like cracking it open and then trying it and eating it. So I think, you know, instead of overwhelming yourself, like, well, I have to have everything healthy, just start small and something fun. Say, okay, kids, today we're going to go to the produce section and pick something that looks good to you.
That's a great tip. And I think, you know, in when we created FitBook Junior, for example, we have a food goal. Like you said, a weekly food goal. So I know some of my friends that have used it before, you know, a lot of their kids' goal for the week is try one new fruit or one new veggie. And it makes it achievable because all they have to do is try one, and they get very proud of themselves for trying that one fruit or vegetable, and they earn a sticker. It's a very simple concept, but to a kid, they get to be involved in the choice, and they get to be involved in trying something out. They may or may not like it, but again, at least getting them to experiment, I think is a really cool idea. So we have a question from Lonnie, which we're taking this one because she happens to work for our company, and I thought it was a great question. But her big struggle is she's a mom of 2 boys, and she has a husband, and her struggle is finding variety that works for the whole family. She's busy, she works, she doesn't want to make 3 different meals at dinner every night. You know, what are some options on how to kind of get everybody's foods in and make everybody happy without having to cook so much?
Okay, I can take this one. So I feel like when you're making a meal for your family, you have enough pieces of that meal to make it balanced. Like the plate we sell, we have your protein, you have your grains, we have our vegetables, we have our fruit. And in our house, you don't have to eat all of it, but out of 5 people, somebody's going to like some part of that meal. So, you know, it is one meal, and hopefully, you know, in the long run, everyone's going to eat a full meal. But even if my daughter just eats the brown rice and my son only is eating his chicken, you know, I didn't make more than one meal. It was just all one meal. And because it's balanced, you can find something that'll resonate with each person. Sometimes it's just the fruit, and, you know, and that's okay, but they just can't have more fruit until they have everything else on their plate.
Yeah. I think also, you know, if you're having your kids eat the vegetables they don't necessarily like, it might be a good idea to be like, all right, Daddy, you don't like your Brussels sprouts, but you have to try yours tonight too. You know, getting the parents to be involved. What, are we having technical difficulty here?
Yeah, I have Jackie, our dietitian in Florida, says there's a bunch of people who can't get on. Do you have like messages from people?
Do we have messages from people? It's on the Google event page. You should be able to view it live on there. Okay, so we're going to continue. We can always post the video later if people can't actually get on. But I'm going to have Tiana looking into it while we're doing that. Okay, so the next question, because this is recorded live. All right, so this is a great question from Courtney. My kids love sweets. Join the club. I love sweets too. And so many of the snacks that they want are loaded with sugar. What treats do you recommend to satisfy their sweet tooth without sugar overload?
You want me to take this one?
Yeah, why don't you take that one?
So we, kind of our philosophy is really to be balanced, and so we don't eliminate food groups at all, including sweets. We think it's okay for kids to have some sweet things. With that being said, we try to have our sweets come from natural sources, so mostly fruit. But I do feel like it's okay. Like I mentioned the quinoa dessert bites. So I had 2 different fruits in there, but we also dipped a part of it in chocolate. And to be honest, that's what got my girls to eat it. But guess what? They ate them, and they loved them. So I think just balancing, you know, instead of giving them a candy bar that's just all sugar and chocolate, you know, doing other things. Something else my girls love is when it was apricot season here where we live, I had all these apricots, and they didn't want to try them. So I broke them in half, and I put like a teaspoon of Nutella in the middle, and they literally ate like 3 halves each. And so just combining maybe something with fruit, I think, is a great way to let your kids still have sweets without the sugar overload.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And chocolate isn't bad, by the way. I think, all things in moderation is kind of what we, preach at Philosophy, and I think it goes for kids too. I think if you teach kids that you have to deprive yourself, this is kind of an off-the-cuff question, but I know adults do this, not only with themselves, but with kids. What are your guys' thoughts on rewarding kids with food? Sorry, I know that was a curveball, but I think it's a good point because I've seen it done so many times with different parents and kids and even adults themselves. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not a fan of food as a reward. In fact, I was working with our school district recently to eliminate food as a reward from the school system just because it's so easy for our teachers to say, here's a Tootsie Roll for this, a Tootsie Roll for that, and at the end of the day, they come home with a bag of candy. So I think food as a reward sends the wrong message. That
what do you use in your household then for rewards? You do stickers? What do you do?
Well, my kids are teenagers now, so.
Well, Natalie, what do you use to reward your kids?
I really like to use experiences as rewards. So meaning like, okay, well, if you do this, then we get to go do this activity. And my kids are really motivated by that. And a lot of times our activities that they want to do are things that are active. So
that's great.
My daughter loves to go ice skating, so that's like a big reward in our house. Or there's one of those bounce house places that we live by, Kangaroo Zoo. That's like the best thing in the whole world, better than any candy. So we try to do activities that motivate them like that. So.
Okay. And I know I have one girlfriend that uses, she has like a sticker chart, and that's the equivalent of using candy in a way because kids get that instant reward because, every time your kid does something small, you can't take them to Disneyland, but right. A sticker or something like that, or even a privilege around the house might be a good idea. But I love your idea of using active, healthy family activities, as rewards. That's great. Do we have time for one more question? Let's see. So we have Sarah from Instagram that says the biggest struggle in her house is that her almost 2-year-old son, which I have a nephew that's almost 2, so of course I had to take this question. He's always eating, which sounds weird, but he has a snack full of Cheerios or Goldfish. He gets full off the snacks, and then he doesn't want to eat come mealtime. So what are some suggestions, number one, for reining in the snacking? Because, it's easy when a kid is fussy, just give him food. And then creating set meal times as a family.
Okay, I actually feel really strongly about this right now, that it's important, as parents, we teach our kids so many things, the reading, the writing, and everything. I think it's also important to teach them boundaries around meal times, because when we're grazing all day, we don't have the appetite for healthy food at dinner, and especially if the snacks that the kids are eating are high in salt or high in sugar or fat, then we're also like deadening their palate so that they can't taste real food.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to have boundaries, and it's okay to say, you know what, we're going to have dinner in 2 hours. I think you'll be fine. It's hard in practice because it pacifies those kids, and if they're snacking on something, they're not crying in your ear. But I think the sooner they learn that, the better that habit is going to stick for the rest of their life.
Does that work with a 2-year-old? Because I can imagine my nephew, like, he just starts grunting and like he just wants food, and then you give him food and he's happy, So
I'll answer. Because I have a 1-year-old. He's 14 months. I have a 4-year-old. I have a 5-year-old, and they do need to eat more often. And so. But I'm with Amy. I think it's important to not let kids graze, especially on just like the carbohydrate snacks, like the Goldfish or the crackers or whatever it is, because then they can't listen to their hunger cues because they don't know. They're never really full, but they're never really hungry. And so our philosophy is really like planned snacks. So, if they can't wait 2 hours until dinner, that's okay. Then okay, we're going to have a snack at this time, but it's going to be, we're going to sit down and we're going to have our snack, and it'll have healthy components instead of just letting him wander around with a baggie full of goldfish all day.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, is teaching them also that a meal is to be at a sit-down place, not, dragging their little bag of Cheerios around behind them. I think that's a really good idea.
And in defense of this mother, we've all done it because.
Yeah, I mean, every mom has, but I think it also leads into adult behavior too, which we don't know when we're hungry either, because they're snacking is good, but a lot of times snacking all the time leads to actually just ending up eating more over time. So really learning to listen to those hunger cues. Okay, so time went by so fast. You guys you have so many great ideas, and it's just amazing to me. I am fully prepared when I have a baby. I know what to do. Well, I wanted to thank you, first of all. We also do have some awesome giveaways to give to people, because we have an amazing amount of people that have entered on Instagram as well as on the Google Plus page, Facebook, and so we want to reward you guys for participating. First of all, for those of you that don't win, we do have something for you at the end as well. On getfitbook.com, that's our website, as well as superhealthykids.com. You can enter promotion code SUPERJUNIOR20. That's super, S-U-P-E-R, junior, J-U-N-I-O-R, 20, and I'll post that on the page after the hangout. And you can actually get 20% off your purchase at either one of our websites through the 15th. So that's just a little thank you for participating. If you never watched this hangout, you'll never get that. So that's our thank you. But next, I want you guys to announce we chose one winner on each Instagram page to win a FitBook Junior, as well as one of your little portion plates for kids. So who is the winner from Super Healthy Kids, ladies?
Okay, our winner is, did you write it down for me?
I did. Her name is Catherine. Her Instagram handle is @candy1469. She's the one that asked the question about her son eats it all day long but is full at mealtime.
I loved this one from Candy because it just reminds me of my life. Kids say that all the time. I'm hungry for a cookie, but I'm too full for dinner.
Exactly.
Yes.
So Catherine, I'm sorry. You are the winner. You can email info@getfitbook.com. We'll send you your prizes. My winner is the one that said her 2-year-old is running around the house with Cheerios or goldfish. Her name is Sarah M. Steffen. The one thing I liked about her is she's a mom of a 2-year-old, but she also teaches cooking adventure class in Fort Meade, Maryland. And she, for 3 to 5-year-olds, and it teaches kids to use kitchen tools, make healthy snacks, and help their parents in the kitchen. And so I love that not only is she, trying to learn about how to help her own 2-year-old, but she's out there educating other kids. So Sarah, congratulations. And then we have one more winner. This is the classroom pack winner. This person will win a pack of up to 30 FitBook Juniors, as well as 30 Fit Portion little plates from you guys, our junior plate pack, for a whole class. The winner says that she's a first grade teacher. She just started prepping their class garden. So she's teaching her first graders to grow a garden. She teaches first grade in Phoenix, Arizona. This would be amazing for her kids. And Libby, you are the winner. So your handle is Libby KG12. So those 3 winners, please email info@getfitbook.com, info@getfitbook.com. We'll get those shipped out to you. Thank you for participating. Again, for anybody that didn't win or participated, whether it's FitBook Juniors, whether it's the plates, whether it's the healthy meal plans that they have available, or the memberships for recipes on superhealthykids.com, you guys can go there and get whatever you want for the next few days. Save 20% with the code SUPERJUNIOR20. Again, I'll post that at the end of the hangout. Just on behalf of myself, thank you both so much for sharing your knowledge and really helping us create this healthy kids movement and help kids make healthy choices and teach them at a young age and help parents do that. So thank you so much, Amy and Natalie. And with that, we wish you all a great day. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.